Well, there's been a very interesting free speech battle in Canada for the past week or so. And I think it shows that the facade of the left, with their talk about anti-bullying and tolerance and diversity, it's just a talk. It's just a way to, it's sort of like when male feminists talk about how much they care about women's rights. It's quite often just a camouflage for the fact that underneath it, they are sexual harassers. I mean, I think the worst and best example of that is Jian Ghomeshi. Remember him? He was this extremely woke CBC personality who actually had a women's studies degree. And it turned out that he would sexually be violent to woman after woman after woman. He would use his TV show as a way to sort of entrap and groom these girls, and then he would punch them in the face. And every sexual predator, one of their tactics is to say, no, I couldn't be a sexual predator because I am a male feminist. And so it is. The people who talk the most about diversity and tolerance for minorities, it is my thesis that it's the opposite, that they're just saying that. And when they want to bare their teeth, they show their bigotry. And that is the case of an American pastor named Sean Feucht, who came to Canada about a week ago to do what he has done before, to give an outdoor musical church service. He sings, he plays guitar. A lot of charismatic Christian churches do that. His move is to go outdoors. It's something he started during the pandemic. And wouldn't you know it, there was decision by all the progressive people, led by the CBC, to hound this guy out. And what did they say? They said it was for safety reasons. Don't you see? His views were unsafe, and it could cause an unsafe reaction by others. That's sort of the excuse they used when they arrested me, didn't they? That my mere presence could cause others to engage in disorderly conduct. Well, Rebel News has been all over the story since the very beginning, covering Sean Feucht's cases, and when he was kicked out of places, covering the places that took him, covering the attacks on him. And the reporter who has been leading the charge this past week is one of my favorite people. I'm talking about Alexa Lavoie, our Montreal bureau chief, and she joins me now with all the latest. Alexa, great to see you.
Great to see you too.
You've been so busy. By the way, I thought your report on the Haitians crossing over from the United States to get to Quebec before they're all kicked out by Trump, I thought that was a great documentary that you and Lincoln J did. So folks, if you haven't seen that, go look for it at guardtheborder.com. Anyways, back to Sean Feucht. Tell me a little bit about what it's been like, because to me the most dramatic moment was when he was deplatformed in Montreal, but he found a church that would take him. It was sort of a very an ethnic church, wasn't it? Tell us more about the church and what it was like that day, and we'll play some of the footage in the background. Go ahead.
Yes, this church is quite a new church. They have been running that place for over 13 years, around that, and they are Spanish people from the Latin America, and they are welcoming everybody who wants to attend the church to worship. And it was really troubling to see that the very people that you will expect the left to defend, they were countering them by protesting in front of their church, and not only protesting, but harassing, intimidating people who were attending the worship service. It was a bunch of different group of protesters, really professional protesters. We used to see them everywhere that we go. There were people with Palestinian flag, with Antifa flag, some people from all different groups. Like we can see that it's the mix of far left and Islamists who actually showed up in front of the church. And so they went ahead with the worship service, and he went also ahead, same if he received 2 smoke bombs on the stage. They didn't stop at all. They did continue, and they say that God were there because they say that the fire alarm didn't start. Same if the smoke bomb had like a lot of smoke everywhere. They say that it was a miracle that the fire alarm didn't start, because if it did, they would have to stop it.
Yeah. And the smoke itself did some damage to the church, but imagine if the sprinklers had gone on. Let me show that. We're going to play some footage now of a man who was obviously pretending to be a Christian in the pews. So he didn't have his face covered. Normally Antifa would cover their face, but he would have stood out too much. So he was in the pews, and he took out of his pocket or something 2 smoke bombs, which are a kind of incendiary device, and he threw them at Sean Feucht on the stage. Pastor Sean picked one up, was sort of marveling at it, and then someone quickly took it from him just to get it out of the room. But the face of this perpetrator was caught on several cameras, and we've got some new angles. So let's just take a look. Here it is. Very clear images of him. I happen to know off by heart section 176 of the Criminal Code. Alexa, that's a section that deals with attacking churches. And the reason I know that is because it's illegal under section 176(2) to harass a church. This became very relevant during the lockdowns when police were harassing churches. You're not allowed to do that during services. Hamas is not allowed to harass a church or a synagogue. And there's all these related provisions to the church, but then, of course, throwing a weapon, incendiary devices. Is that arson? I'm not an expert in those different charges, but throwing smoke bombs at a man in a church probably is about 4 or 5 different offenses if police are being creative. And as far as I know, that man has not been arrested yet, and police aren't even making an effort to find him. Is that the latest that you know as well?
But what I know is the police have the camera footage from the church. I don't know if they found the man, because we would probably have known by then if they did. So I think they are still looking or investigating at him. But if you can see on the new footage on angle, the men were able to just get out of the church quietly and peacefully, and nobody actually stopped him.
Right.
Nobody actually ran after him. It was probably around when we found out that the smoke bombs happened, but it's not what happened. The police, after the worship service, went inside, and I know that someone from the church filled a police report. What we know so far, also for the infraction fines, the church didn't receive it yet, but I know by a source that the infraction notice had been filled, and now the church is just waiting for receiving it. But an article was released today from one of my friend journalists, Libre Media, and what they were describing in the article is they called the municipal services at 311, and they actually confirmed to them that when it comes to a concert that take place inside of the church, the city has no right of control.
Right.
So we'll see how everything turns out. But it was really impressive to see that in the same municipality, they are contradicting each other.
Right. I should remind your viewers that the Democracy Fund is defending the church. Our lawyers have been retained by the church. We will defend the church against this outrageous fine. And I should note that the city did not make any investigations. They just read the media, decided they hated this guy, and issued the fine, or announced the fine. The mayor's office did, without even having a hearing or an investigation. It was pure bigotry. As I said before, the progressive people are often the most bigoted. I want to say one more thing, because I really want to identify that arsonist, or that would-be arsonist. It's outrageous that he hasn't been identified yet. I'm sure police know who he is. The way he acted was sort of professional and calm and cool. I don't think that was the first time he committed that kind of violence before. And I think it's actually a political decision by the police not to go after that guy, but we have his face. And we put out a $100 bounty, if anyone knows his name, at findthethug.com. And to be honest, Alexa, I thought, so many people are going to know this guy. I don't want to waste money, so let's just give $100. We have not had an answer yet, so I'm going to raise that bounty to $250, and you will remain anonymous. If anyone knows who that guy is, we won't reveal your identity. You can be his friend. We've had people before who turned in a friend who did something immoral. And Alexa, I don't know if you would consider making a little video in French, because maybe he's Francophone. I don't know. And maybe his friends would see a video en français that they might miss in English. We will pay $250 for the identity of that man. And what we would do is we would journalistically publish that. We would research who he was, but we would also, the police would see that. My friend Joe Warmington in the Toronto Sun called the SPVM, the Montreal police, and basically nudged them. Why aren't you guys doing this? I hate to say it, Alexa, the Montreal police are amongst the most political in the country.
Oh, yeah, you're totally right. Don't be sorry for saying something that is true. Unfortunately, it's a reality. And they don't have also that much resources to go and run a deep investigation like that. So I'm not even sure, because when I got attacked in Square Victoria, they found nobody in the people who actually attacked me that were fully masked, and it's been more than a year. So I'm not even sure that they will actually find the person who did this terrible criminal act.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, if we give a $250 reward, we'll find it. Now, Sean Foyt is continuing his tour in the western part of the country. One of the most Christian places in Canada is sort of near the Lower Mainland. It's sort of northeast of Vancouver, Abbotsford. We have some of our strongest supporters there. A lot of Christian people, a lot of Dutch Christians who are very observant. So the fact that he was canceled in that Christian Bible Belt is shocking to me. But for every time he's canceled, all it does is give him more publicity, and he'll find another venue. And I think it's been a constant test of Canada's adherence to freedom of speech, freedom of assembly. I hate to say it, Canada is failing that test, and shame on all these people who talk about diversity and tolerance, but they do not accept some. And by the way, I'm not Jewish. I'm not Christian myself. I'm Jewish, so I'm not. It's not that I support his particular ideology, but I support his right to say it. And it's insane that we're cracking down on a pretty wholesome guy who just wants to preach, but we're treating him worse than we treat terrorists.
Mm-hmm. And this is, it's called the Streisand effect. So right now they are attacking him for being labeled by the mainstream media as MAGA. But what it creates as an effect is like now everybody know him, everybody know that there is something wrong, and everybody can notice that the Christianity is under attack here in Canada.
Listen, I think you're doing a great job. Please continue to report on this. I know other reporters on our team are also reporting on it. I think, for example, Drea Humphrey, when Pastor Sean is in the far west, she'll be covering it. We actually had a big team effort, and I think it was classic rebel stuff. Reporting on the news. We had a petition. We deployed the billboard truck in Ontario, which was really fun. Last I checked, we had close to 20,000 names on the petition, letusworship.ca. And like I say, we're crowdfunding with the Democracy Fund the lawyer to defend the Christian church in Montreal from the city. So we're doing about 5 things here. I think it's really exciting. And that's what people tell me they love about The Rebel, that we don't just tell the story. Every once in a while we get involved. And you're doing a great job on this one. Thanks for everything, Alexa.